Hey, it's TDA, and today we're playing some more Mindustry. Last time around I took out some of these random zones quite passively, and then I figured, well, I might want to make sure my actual main zones keep safe from now on, because I lost the nuclear production complex while I wasn't looking, apparently. So my plan was to do that for Impact 0078. I took out these two zones that were attacking it, and then it turned out there were a whole lot of other zones that were attacking it, so I decided to take one of those, and there were two more. Long story short, if you want to actually clear out all the zones that are attacking you, you are going to be there for a while. So I decided I'm no longer going to do that. I'm first going to clear out the actual main missions, and if then I still feel like playing some more Mindustry, then I'll start taking out all of these zones that are attacking me. I do have to say, I've been able to build up a pretty decent defense in all of these zones, so they should last me for a little while. And there are quite a lot of valuable resources in here, so, you know, basically it has everything you might ever need. So I'm also able to export a little bit more because I did put some launching pads in there. Next on my to-do list is the Myial Bastion. I love this name, by the way. And the reason that I'm going to go for this next is that it has the remaining unlock I need for my tier 5 units. I think after that I should be able to unlock everything, or I have unlocked everything with the exception of this one, but it seems like the thing you unlock very near the end of the game. I don't even have that level unlocked yet. So we're going to go for this one, and again we're going to use the standard layout with the kind of like pre-built tier 4 villas. Okay, we've landed on the map, and I have a problem because we barely have any water. As you can see, there is a little bit of water, but honestly it is not that much. We also apparently don't have waves initially, at least I hope this is what that means, but we do have 6 minutes to prepare, which is a fair amount of time, honestly. And we're going to need that by the looks of it because, well, there's a lot of stuff on this map. There's a core over here. There's another core over here. I assume the enemy defenses are, in fact, online, so can't really cheat the system by doing any kind of type of just zerging the enemy. But yeah, I definitely need to clear out some of this stuff over here because I need this water to import stuff. That is a problem, honestly. Although these salvos are just running on copper by the looks of it. So honestly, the defense line over here is not that impressive. But yeah, I am still going to need to deal with that. We might actually want to consider going for tier 3 units initially, mostly so I can actually attack. Because the tier 4 units are going to take a while to produce. At the same time, I could actually produce a couple of tier 4 units pretty quickly by using some of the water. Interesting. Let me think about that for a moment. So how about this? I could actually produce a couple of fortresses. These are level 3 units. They have a massive range, and that means I could probably lay waste to a lot of the enemy base just outside of the range of the turret. So, yeah, it's gonna be worth a try. Okay, so you know the drill by now. We're going to produce some monos and some polys over here. And I actually changed my mind. I do want to start producing those villas from the get-go. I do have a little bit of water, and I can use that water to start making some cryo fluid. Now, once I do that, I do need to make sure that I get some of the other water. For example, there's some water over here to get all my resources that I need to do other stuff. I also just realized there's a little bit of water over here, so I actually do have more than I initially thought. That being said, I am going to use this first little maze that I produced in the meanwhile to take out this air defense a little bit over here, so I can actually walk around and my units won't get shot down out of the air. Okay, 1 minute down. I could probably have done this a little bit faster, but either way, the cryo fluid production is now online, and we should see the Vela production popping out soon as well. I did take out the scatters over here, or at least the ammo supply for that, because as you can see, pretty much everything that is already shooting at me, even though I'm barely outside of my own base. How are we doing on power? 1.8. I should probably add in a little bit of that. And then once we have that up and running, what we're going to be doing is getting in some of those landing pads. The nice thing is, by flipping a building temporarily, you can actually pop out units, and I'm going to do exactly that to pop out a couple of these tier 3 units as well. So I have a little bit of an army to go along with my initial villa. Okay, I have silicon coming in, I have some thorium coming in, and I have some titanium coming in, most of which are the main things I typically seem to need. And I'm actually going to double up on my cryogen fluid because that will speed up the tier 5, tier 4 unit production. The main reason that this overdrive projector is actually giving me a nice boost, but it's not going to do much if I don't have the resource to actually speed up this production. And again, cryo fluid is always the bottleneck initially. Okay, the first Vela popped out. I have 2 of these quasars to go along with that, and it should make a little army that should be able to take on a couple of these defensive lines, I hope. Okay, this is actually pretty intense because I am on my clock. I took out this first defensive platform over here and this one as well, so at least I don't have the enemy right on my doorstep at the moment. But at the same time, I actually don't know where the enemy is going to come from. I think they're just going to go down the middle, but I have no way of knowing that for sure. So that makes me a little bit unsure as to where to actually build my defensive lines. So I just realized that given the layout of this level with all these blocks getting in the way, I should probably have been building the spider type of units because these Velas can't actually, well, they can fly, but if they fly, they get shot down out of the air. So it's definitely not an easy way to get around, but still I am able to just walk past most of these defenses. And hopefully I will be able to take out this zone that gives me access to this water, and I can bring in some more resource on top of what I already have. At the very least, these fellas are making sure we're not going to be bombarded with these ground crawlers from this angle. Now, I double checked most of the production and there is a lot more production over here. This is going to churn out a lot of flares. And that is going to be a problem, but there's no way I can reach there in time, I don't think. I could potentially fly my Velas around here, drop them in the back or something like that. Hopefully not get shot down of the air too quickly. And then do it like that, maybe? That's actually worth considering, because if I can take out this flare production, and there's some more over here actually, that is going to save me a lot of headaches. But yeah, you know, one thing at a time. And while I'm clearing out the remainder of this base, at least now I have some specters up and running as well. Now, I'm still not entirely sure where to place these. I'm inclined to place a couple of them over here as well. Because honestly, the enemy can just be coming from anywhere. In the meanwhile, I've been able to gather 4 Velas, so that is a pretty impressive attack army, although it is going to struggle with some of these defenses over here, because these are not trivial. I mean, these ripples are going to blast right through my Velas if I'm not careful. But still, we might need to take that on, because if I can take out this base, my life will be considerably easier than with that base still around. And I still need to, well, I need to start working on those bases one way or another. I can't wait around for too long, because I will just get overwhelmed. Let's make sure I can actually supply these things with ammunition, and there we go. And I now have access to this pile of water. I'm not entirely sure what I actually want to bring in. I am bringing in titanium over here, silicon over here, and what was I doing here? Silicon as well. I am bringing in titanium and graphite over here, so thorium should definitely be on the list. Yeah, and probably some surge alloy as well, plastinium probably, because I do need that for my tier 4 units as well. Okay, I've been slowly working on this primary defense line over here. As you can see, I took most of it out, and this is all running out of ammunition at this point. I did actually lose a Vela in the process, unfortunately, but I still have 4 of them because I produced the 5th one. And most notably, even though I was expecting waves to come in now, it seems that the enemy is just going to be producing at this point. I'm not entirely sure who or what is going to be producing. I'm guessing it's going to be these tier 1 units, but it might just have been this base that I just took out. So as long as I can keep up with the enemy scaling up, and if we're not going to get any normal waves, then this level might be a lot more manageable than I initially thought. I do now have my plastinium and my thorium coming in, so that is nice, and I think we should be good to go. Okay, so I'm not actually sure what is attacking me, but we are under attack because I just shot down some units. Oh look, it's a tiny little crawlers. Well, in that case, I am going to have to build some defenses. Let's see. Let's have a mend projector or two over here. Let's make sure there's power to go along with that. And I am going to bring this Orient belt over here as well, so I have a little bit more reinforcements. In the meanwhile, I've been able to take out the main defensive line over here, so I can just hop over this, land straight away, because I don't want to get shot at by all these scatters, and clear out this base, work my way in this direction, and try to get as close to the main base as I possibly can without getting myself killed. Okay, that's one base down and at least one more to go. Let's see, we have one over here. Was there a second base? Yeah, so two to go. Now somehow the explosion of this base actually took out one of my Velas, so now I'm back down to 4. I do have one in reserve in my main base and a 5th one in production. I think I'm just going to have my hit squad do its thing over here for a moment while I start building up a small army of Velas just sitting here in the back. Okay, this little hub took out the flare production over here, so that is nice. I actually don't need to deal with all of these towers necessarily. I mean, as long as the production is offline, the towers themselves are not going to matter that much. So now I'm really wondering, do I try to push through here? Seems doable. I mean, I might want to bring a couple more Velas, but if I can push through here, there's a couple of Spectres, but honestly, that's all the really interesting defense there is. I mean, these salvos are going to do some damage, but they are just working with copper. Then if I can push that out, that is going to make my life a lot easier. Now these crawlers are still being produced, but other than that, the top part of this base isn't actually doing anything. So rather than flying all the way around and try to clear this out, yeah, I think just pushing through the middle might be the most effective. So the next timer for the escalation is actually pretty generous. That's 5 whole minutes to do whatever I want pretty much on the map. Which is a lot easier now that I have taken care of most of the enemy unit production. I mean, these crawlers are not going to do anything as long as I don't run out of thorium. I mean, these Spectres can just handle them. Even just a single one would have been enough, honestly. That means that if I can take out this base within the next 5 minutes or so, we should not have to deal with these tier 4 units, and I guess that is the main objective. Now the real question is, how long do I wait before attacking? I already have 5 of these Velas over here, so that should be enough, I think, to take out this base, but I can just wait around a little bit more longer. There's actually a 6th one on its way already. That should be enough to punch through here, I think. Of course, I also want to make sure I at least disrupt the production over here so that this thing doesn't get resources and cannot actually produce. Okay, so the Spectres are out. I'm still a little bit hesitant to jump over this fence because there is another Spectre down here. There's actually some other ripples and things like that over there as well. So I'm just going to work around the edges for a moment to clear out as much as I can before diving in this with my valuable units. And there we go. I think this is enough disruption to make sure there's not going to be tier 4 units popping out of here anytime soon. Now at the same time, I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen once the escalation finishes. I think we might also see some units spawning from over here in the back. And if that is the case, I definitely want to make sure I take out this base as soon as possible, because I don't want to have to deal with a major amount of waves on top of everything else as well. Okay, I made a little hop to the other side. I took out most of the defenses, and that means I can now start working on the enemy base. I might just want to kind of just push through and ignore the Spectre and try to focus down the nucleus, because if that dies, I think everything else over here should go inactive as well. And there we go. I think that is there, that's taken care of. Let me see, can I actually double check that? Yep, that is all taken care of. That is very nice. These things are still producing though, so we're not quite done yet. Okay, this is really threatening. It's at the final escalation of production is in 7 minutes, but I think that might have been the main base that I just took out. So yeah, you know, everything is under control. Okay, so it took me a minute to push through all of these turrets, but I should be now taking down the last core. If I didn't miss anything. Nope, there we go. Sector captured. That's actually surprisingly easy compared to how I thought this level would go. But I'm not complaining. I like easy every now and then. Now the downside of this particular level is that I didn't actually build that many defenses because I didn't need them. And this thing is going to be under attack. Now these are relatively low level bases, so I'm hoping that if I just plop down some turrets, that is going to be enough to convince the AI that I have plenty of defenses here and that it shouldn't actually attack me at all. Oh well, I think I should be able to defend this base with the 20 Velas that I have up and running at the moment, and well, if not, then we'll have to deal with it at that point. But I can always build some more turrets and things like that. All in all, I also started kind of just rebuilding the enemy's bases. Not necessarily because I want to completely redo that, don't get me wrong. But these random turrets might actually count towards, you know, defense of this base, might deter the enemy from attacking every now and then. And even if they do attack, well, at least it's going to slow them down. Just revitalizing these bases doesn't actually cost anything, so, you know, might as well do that while you're waiting for your resources to stack up. Now, this wasn't actually a really fun level, but I haven't done the most important part yet, and that is clicking the Toxo Pit button, and there we go. Now we have all 5 tier 5 units unlocked. Have I actually built any of them? Nope. And the main reason I haven't actually done that is because, well, honestly, the tier 5 building is pretty large. And I have been having some trouble fitting it in somewhere. Now, of course, I can just remove some buildings and deal with it like that. At the same time, these resources are pretty hefty, especially the cryo fluid, but also the phase fabric and things like that. Don't get me wrong, I know these units are super strong. Specifically the Corvus is looking very interesting because, well, it has a massive range. 57, I can pretty much kill enemies from the other side of the map. I think that outranges pretty much all the turrets in the game, with maybe the exception of the, what's it called, Foreshadow. Let's see, what is the range on a Foreshadow? Yeah, that is actually slightly larger, but that's, I think, the only turret that actually is able to shoot back at the Corvus once it's attacking. So I definitely want to start building some of these tier 5 units at some point, but I need a little bit more room to work with if that is the case. but either way, if you're still here, you are awesome, and I do hope to catch you in the next one, and who knows, maybe we'll actually build some tier 5 units.